Hey guys, I'm coming back on because I might delete the last message I just broadcasted. I had a lot of distractions with Matthew screaming and crying and distracting me, and I just don't think I was my best self just now. So we'll see if I'm going to keep that up. So I just wanted to come in here real quick, one more time, try to make it quicker, and just give you a quick message on how to watch readings and how to find out who you are in the reading, because I do get that a lot of the time. People are wondering, am I a karmic? Am I the divine? Is the person I love a karmic or a divine? So there's a lot of those questions. How are you going to figure this out on your journey? Is usually with a confirmation from God, asking Him to come in and give you a sign. Example, I did a reading on someone last night or just recently, and the number was 44. He always had a 44. That was a sign for him, and his lover was the number 44. And he's been asking God for a sign to prove if that was his person or not. And his instincts and his intuition were telling him the whole time it was. But when I did his personal reading, the first card that came out when I asked, how does your person feel about you? Boom, was the number 44. And it was a soulmate card. So boom, that person got a confirmation from the universe, from God, that's my person. There's no escaping it. He specifically asked before the reading a sign. He specifically asked for the number 4 or the number 44, which is his sign. And what did he get in the reading? 44. You see, those are signs, synchronicities, things that are going to happen. Hi, Superina. So when you're really wanting to have a confirmation on your person, you're going to get them. If you've told yourself, I'm done with this person, I want to move on. If this is not my person, I'll meet someone else. I'll find new love. I'll move on. I'll be happy. This isn't going to be coming back together. That's it. And then you start getting signs where the universe shows you this person driving next to you on the road. Or you see this person's name coming across the TV. Or, you know what I mean? Just all kinds of signs, guys. There's all kinds. But let's just say this person crosses your path again, or you get a sign about them again. That's a confirmation from the universe. No, it's not over. There's still a connection here. So you're going to get these answers. You just have to be open to see them. So how do you know your person is divine or karmic? Those are the answers. Those are the reasons. One of the best reasons I can tell somebody's karmic is when you find yourself constantly in a low vibration. Okay? It's not always low. I had a karmic relationship where he was abusive, he cheated, he lied. It was difficult. He just wasn't on the level, okay, where he needed to be. Every time I find myself with that person, it would be beautiful, romantic energy. It would be very deep, sexual, deep, soulful connection. But my daily life was toxic. I lost jobs because of that relationship. Literally lost jobs. I ended up in jail. You don't know how crazy I am. Anyways, I ended up in jail because of that relationship. Granted, I was in my 20s. I was younger, okay? I got obsessed. I got codependent. I had literally toxic chemicals flowing through my body that I created myself based on the thoughts that I couldn't release myself from this person. It was like a drug. I was stuck to this person, man. Every single day of every day, it was about that person. It was not about me. It was about that person. I even had to see a psychiatrist about it because I needed counseling. I was miserable. I was depressed. I got to the point where I was starting to drink. I was starting to smoke. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I was considering cheating just to get this person's attention. I thought of everything. I thought of every single thing. I did every single thing you could think of to try to remedy this karmic situation. Okay, this was my 20s, all right? That's karmic because I was not getting better. I was getting worse. I was a pretty good person when I met that guy, okay? And it brought me down to the lowest low. It brought me down to rock bottom. I lost a home. I lost jobs. I ended up in jail. I was drinking. I was doing crap, guys. I was doing shitty crap. All right. And even the person before that, I was karmic. I was doing shitty crap. It was all soul planned. It was part of my destiny, but it still wasn't the relationship for me. Just because somebody is part of your destiny does not make them the person for your companionship for life. It's someone that you're supposed to grow from, okay? I was meant to meet this person. Hell, I was meant to meet my first love. That was a soul journey as well. I learned beautiful lessons and I moved on. But here's the deal. I had to let them go. I had to grow up and I had to learn and I had to ascend. Once I pulled my own head from my ass, and I'm not coming down on people when I say pull your head out of your rear, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm saying I did have my head in my ass and I had to pull it out. Because you're not going to force something to work that's not for you. If you keep finding yourself in a low vibration, getting stuck, getting dark, it's karmic. You need to get yourself out. The lesson you're supposed to learn is how to love yourself, how to pull yourself out of a dark situation, how to pull yourself up from being codependent, how to pull yourself up from believing orthodox thinking. Part of the reason I wanted to stay, because I'm not going to show the camera, guys. Part of the reason I wanted to stay was because religion, believe it or not. I grew up very Catholic and I believed in family and I believed wholeheartedly that God would see me through. God would change his heart. God would put my family together. God would heal him. God would mend us. It was strictly religious. I was really believing that that was the answer. Okay? And anyways, that was part of the reason I stayed. The second reason I stayed was because of the children. And I thought, I have to stay for family. It's a template. I want to stay married. I want to be with the father of my kids, no matter what it takes. I want to be with this person because that's family. It was a karmic lesson, guys. I had to learn it. And I fought it tooth and nail. And like I said, I had to go through a lot. There's shit that I've had to go through, guys, that you're going to wonder, Stephanie, how the hell did you get over it? And I just want to tell you, once I got over my karmic situation and I loved myself again, do you think that I shunned this person out of my life? Do you think that I called him names? Do you think I called him a piece of shit? Do you think I called him an asshole? Yeah, there were times I did by myself and to his face, but not to my kids. Do you think I spoke down or bad about that person to my family? No. My kids still to this day think the best of their father, who is now deceased, by the way. He passed away. He was murdered. But I loved him, and there were parts about him that were beautiful. There were beautiful parts about that man, and I still love that man. Okay? But even when I got out of that karmic cycle, I loved him still. My heart was still his. I still loved him. There was a lot I let go with love. And I just realized that we're too different. We're not on the same path. He wants different things than me. And I'll let God take over. I said that to the universe. I said, I'm going to let this man go. I love him. But I can't heal him. I can't fix him. It doesn't matter what I do. I can't stay in this. I have to get out. Guys, this man was abusive. I had been punched in the stomach, kicked in the ribs, choked, slapped, bitch slapped, locked in the car, drugged by my hair, beaten a lot. Not all the time, but it was those moments of freak out. And it was probably only a handful of times that I was hurt like that. But I put myself in those positions A lot of the times I was mind fucked and told it was my fault. I would find out he was cheating, and he would hide different cell phones and hide numbers, and he would hide shit from me, and then I would go looking for it. I would find it because I'm damn good, and I should have been a detective, but I would find it all the time. And then when I found it, I would call him out on it because I have my Aries moon. I don't pussyfoot. When I find something, I don't care. I will bring it up. And he would get mad at me and say that I did this. I looked for it. I caused the problem. Had I just stayed out of it, put my nose somewhere else, I wouldn't have known. In fact, I went to tarot card readers back then, and the reader I went to, her name was Ruth. She was beautiful. And she told me, she said, Stephanie, here's the crazy thing. This is a soulmate. He loves you. He loves you a lot, and you're going to have a family and children, and there's a lot of love here. But there's a darkness, and he's going to cheat. He's a cheater. He's not a faithful man. And she's like, he's going to have other children. He's going to have other women. And if you're okay with that, if you accept that, Queen of Cups, he'll stay with you. He'll stay with you. But if you can't accept that, there's going to be somebody else in your life. And she said, if you want somebody else in your life, he's coming. He's going to look a lot different than this guy. And she described my masculine to a T. This was 10 years before I ever met him, okay? But she described him, and she said, you're going to have this happen and that happen, and you're going to meet him in the fall, and he was crazy shit. And I told her she was batshit crazy. I wanted my money back. I didn't believe that reading. I was so pissed off about that reading. I was like, fuck that. No, he loves me. He's going to pull his head out of his ass. He's going to do right. We're going to be happy. We're going to live happily ever after. She's full of shit. I'm never leaving this man. Boy, she doesn't know my heart. I'm so dedicated. There's nothing through hell or high water, better or worse. I'm hanging in here. I'm going nowhere. And that was my dedication at the time. So I continued to try to make that karmic soulmate relationship work. Sure enough, he met a few other women. Then I learned it was always more than a few. It was always a handful, 5 or 6 circulating at the same time. Okay? If you guys want to know, you guys talk about your players. I'm like, you have never met the king of the players. My karmic soulmate was the king of the players. He was 6'2", blue eyes, beautiful tight curly hair. He had a model face. I mean, he put Brad Pitt to shame. His face was a model. He should have been on GQ magazines. He had perfect teeth, beautiful hands. He dressed with style. I'm just going to say, Leo energy, okay? He was the shit. And not only that, he was romantic. He knew how to open the car doors for me, give me the roses, give me the flowers, rub my feet. God, the best sex I'd ever had. He was good to my family, okay? He loved my parents, my grandparents. He called them mom and dad and grandma. They loved him. Everyone that I knew loved him. Everyone would tell me I was tripping in that relationship. No one could believe such a wonderful guy could hurt me like that. So my point being with that whole thing is I've been there, done that. I've been there with a soulmate that is karmic. And there was a beautiful time of our life that it was beautiful, but it got toxic. And he started to want to be in the world. He started to just want more women. And it was never enough. He wanted to be on motorcycles all the time. He was really into the whole bike clubs, okay? He smoked weed a lot. He didn't want to keep a job. He always struggled financially. He was a very good liar, and he could turn on the tears. He never wanted me to go. So I thought, surely this man loves me or he would leave me. He would go find somebody else. But see, this karmic soulmate's goal wasn't to leave me and find somebody better. He already loved me and had a family. He didn't want to leave it. He just wanted to enjoy the world. And he didn't want me poking my nose into that because that just hurts me and causes problems in our relationship. So just like the tarot card reader told me, he loves you and he will be with you. But if you continue to dig, you'll have fights, arguments, and toxic. The devil card came out, abuse, bullshit. That's what happened. And the point was, guys, I either was going to die to myself and live miserably with someone for the rest of my life, or I finally picked up my own heart and said, enough, I deserve better. There was a point in time where I didn't think I could get better. There was a point in time where I thought, this is as good as it gets. I'm never going to get anyone better looking, more charming. I'm never going to get anyone to be the father of my kids and love them like he does because he's their father. I'm never going to have anyone like this again. I have to make it work. I thought lowly of myself, and I put him on a pedestal. Anyways, I'm not going to go on and on about that, guys, but the point is, it was a 15-year relationship. It got really deep. I tried to heal and deal. I went to church. I prayed. I fucking sacrificed. His mother loved me. His sister loved me. His friends loved me. It wasn't the fact that anybody thought bad of me. In this karmic relationship, they all loved me and my family loved him. But that wasn't enough. God was telling me stuff, you have to learn a lesson. It doesn't matter how shiny the package is. What are you worth? I had to be worth more than his looks. I had to be worth more than how he perceived to be in the world, and it was fake. There were Mother's Days that we went to barbecues and I just got slapped. He never came home the night before, and I was 8 months pregnant, and we had to go to a barbecue with his job. And I had to smile in his boss's face and have my ring on, and everything's fine, everything's great. We're a happy family. Snap a picture. Okay? And underneath the facade was hickeys on his chest from the night before. Was lies and deceit. And do you think he just ignored me and didn't desire me? Oh no, we had sex probably every day. There was sexual addictions, lust. That's the devil card. And nothing was ever enough for him. I could have had the most beautiful, sexy body and it wouldn't have been enough. I could have been Angelina Jolie and it wouldn't have been enough. This person wasn't lacking love or sex in our marriage, in our relationship. This person that I loved, this karmic soulmate, was lacking self-love. He came up from a home without a father, feeling abandoned, not knowing what a real man is. He came up from having shitty role models, an uncle, supposed fake uncle that taught him how to cheat, how to be a player, how to be cool with the ladies. He learned how to be a man from the streets, from friends. He had a mother that spoiled him and overdid it with him because she felt so bad for his father walking out on him. So she gave him whatever he wanted. At 14 and 12 years old, he was running the streets, going out, sneaking out at night, staying up all night, doing drugs, sleeping with girls. His mother allowed him to move into her apartment with a woman older than him when he was 14 years old. That's as old as my oldest right now. I can't imagine my son having sex and having a serious girlfriend and moving into my house at that age. But that was my karmic soulmate. That was his life. And obviously he was lacking self-worth and self-love. But I didn't know that then because I was counting on him to be my king. I was counting on him to be my savior. I was counting on him to support me, to take care of his family financially, to love me, to cherish me, to adore me. I demanded him to provide a life for me that would make me happy. And he counted on me to be the mother and let him do what he wanted. He was looking at me to be a mother. Okay? Now, that's the karmic dynamic for me. For everyone else, it's going to be similar. There's going to be touches, parts of that story that's going to touch you. There's going to be parts of that story where you're like, okay, that I've been there, you know? But the reason I'm telling you that is because I wanted you to know that in karmic relationships, there's good parts and there's bad parts, but mostly there's a cycle. There's some kind of a cycle that keeps you trapped. For me, it was codependency, and it was a template. I was really stuck on it. I wanted it to be fulfilled. For him, he had a karmic cycle of addictions and dependency, codependency also. He needed his mother. And even when we broke up, he always needed his mother. He never broke that cycle of needing his mother. When he left me, he moved out and lived with his mother still. Never had his own place. And every time he had a girlfriend, he would end up living with the girlfriend, never his own place. So he never found his own. He never came into his own. He always had a lack of self-worth. It was very sad. Very sad. But I had to learn that from this karmic relationship, that there was love there, and there was healing and understanding and dedication and children and joy. But there was a lot of misery because we were both stuck into some sick karmic event that we had to grow from. And unfortunately, the only way me and him were going to heal and grow was apart. That's the only way. I knew that I couldn't be happy in his lifestyle. I knew that I didn't want to live in the state he wanted to live in. I knew that I didn't like the kind of friends he had. I knew that we shared different beliefs. I knew that we just couldn't come together. I just knew it. I knew that I couldn't change him, and he knew he couldn't change me. And we both needed to love ourselves. So I went on my journey. And anyways, I did get like I said, I got help. I got counseling. And like I said, I literally had toxic chemicals in my body. And if you guys talk to a psychologist, and they'll talk to you about it, there is a codependent energy for people that are getting off drugs or getting off of addictions. And it's a chemical reaction in your body. Your body creates some kind of a reaction or a chemical to where you can have hives start to come out from your cheeks and your chest. And you kind of break out in this kind of a red rash kind of thing. A lot of you will sense the feeling of getting hot. You'll get hot in the cheeks, hot in the chest, and your hands will get sweaty. This is when you're going through a withdrawal. And so this is the reaction I had being separated from him. I was crying, I was depressed, I was miserable, I was having these reactions. I couldn't stop talking about him, I couldn't stop thinking about him. It was really obsessed. My family and friends couldn't talk to me anymore because they said, Stephanie, can you talk about anything else besides him? I'm so sick. They all had to tell me, I'm sick of talking to you and it's always about him. I'm sick of every time I see you, it's about him. Everything's about him. You don't pay attention to your kids. You don't pay attention to you. You don't pay attention to the house. You don't pay attention to anything. It's all about him. And they didn't even know the worst of it. That was just a sign. The worst of it was, that's true. My life was about him. I would wake up and get ready for him. I would wake up and clean the house for him. I would wake up and make a meal for him. I would wake up and pick my clothes out for him. What would he like to wear? I would dress my kids up and have them look a certain way to please him. What kind of shoes does he like the kids to wear? What does he like to do with the kids? What movies does he like to watch? Everything was about him. It was sick. It was sick and it was codependent. It was insanity. And you don't really know you're in it till you're in it deep. And you need to get the fuck out. And it did get to that point. And so when I started getting counseling, we had a final breakup. And it was right around my birthday. He wasn't there for my birthday. He showed up late. I ended up going to the liquor store, getting some liquor, drinking by myself, being depressed. He didn't want to be around me because I was so obsessed with him. Notice how these karmic cycles work. You will repel somebody if you are obsessed about them. You will push them away. And I didn't know that then. But by my obsession with him, I pushed him away. I was pushing him even more to cheat, even more to be away from me because I was not healthy. I was sick. I'm not going to go into the whole story, guys, but it got bad, okay? The police were involved. We had a final breakup. I was done. I remember the moment I had the aha moment, the clarity. It clicked. It clicked in my head. I said, if I am going to the liquor store to buy alcohol to drown my pain, this is not the relationship for me. If I look in the mirror and I look like shit when he's not around and I'm depressed and I'm not the best mother I can be for my kids, that's not who I want to be. And I finally had it click. I'm not the person I love. I'm not the person I want to be. This is not my home. This is not my life. This is not my relationship. This is nothing that I want. And yeah, I wanted him. I loved him and I saw life with him and I imagined growing old with him. And I wanted his body and I wanted his kisses and I wanted his touch and I wanted his romance. I wanted that. But that being with the devil. Not literally like he was the devil. I mean, I'm selling out. I'm selling my soul and my happiness to somebody. Okay? For what? For sex? For love? So anyways, that's what was happening, okay? And I had to wake up. I ended it. It was over. I started getting psychiatric help. When I got that help, I told you guys the story before. I won't go down that road. She wanted to put me on drugs. I denied it. I said, I'm not taking your fucking drugs. Well, I said that. She said, I have to if I'm going to do the program. I lied. I said I took them, but I never took one pill. I decided at that moment to heal myself. My inner divine feminine turned on. The healer, the lover, the giver, the person I was meant to be. Since I was young, my intuitions, my healing, it all came inside me, and I realized I'm going to heal myself and I'm going to get out of this misery. And, I didn't take the depression drugs. I didn't take the sleeping pills. When I did my interview with the psychiatrist, she told me I had the codependent situation and I was detoxing. I was trying to come down off of an addiction because love can be an addiction. You can get so obsessed with a lover that it's a complete addiction. And it's like you have to work your body out of it. And I went through tears and heartache, and boy, did I feel it. It was, my body hurt. My body hurt in that breakup. It was terrible. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. And I wrote a journal every day. And instead of talking to everybody about my problems, I decided to write it down and read it out loud to her every day until I realized I was getting tired of telling her the same story. I was getting tired of all the memories. But you know what helped me with that journal? I wrote down every situation that hurt me. When he cheated and got another woman pregnant, not once, but twice. Every situation I had to argue with the other female. Every situation that I would tell them I'm his wife and the mother of his kids and he's with me. And they would tell me, so what? I'm still going to sleep with him anyways, as long as he wants to. I had to write down these situations that hurt me and killed my heart. I had to write them down and express them and cry and get them out of my body because they hurt me. When he was in jail, I felt like I was in jail because I was on the phone with him, locked up in the house. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't speak to anyone. I had to be loyal and faithful to him. I had to be, I was in jail with him when he was in jail. I was suffering when he was free. I was just, and long story short, this is karmic. That's why I'm talking about it. I loved him a lot though, guys. He kissed my hands. He rubbed my feet. He did my hair. He washed my back in the bath. He loved my children. He loved my family. We watched movies. We cuddled. It was the best sex of my life. There was a lot of beauty in that relationship, but there was a lot of toxicity. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're dealing with a karmic person, it's not always 100% of the time dark. There is light, but there's a lot of darkness. That's the devil card, the illusion. The illusion that it's not so bad. The illusion that there's really love here. The illusion that you're not going to get, any better. The illusion that this is the love of your life. That's karmic. And the devil will fool you. And the only reason I realized that that was a karmic soulmate for me is because like I told you guys, I wasn't getting better, I was getting worse. Anyways, when I did decide to end it, the drinking quit, smoking quit. I stopped obsessing. I didn't talk about him every day. I got ready for me. I had more fun with my kids. My house was beautiful. I let him go, and I still went through withdrawal. There were still a few years after that breakup that we were still in communication, and I was still hopeful and praying that we could come together. And I spent about 3 years after our breakup of being single and just hanging on to the notion that we could come together again once he found some healing. But, long story short, guys, when I started seeking myself, he fell further and further away from me. He found another lover again. He found multiple lovers. He got into worse trouble. He never came back home. Spirit kept him away from me. He had warrants and couldn't come back to my state. Spirit kept him away. I realized that it was drifting further and further apart, not closer and closer together. Children are not what keep people bonded. Believe me, it didn't keep him bonded. There was a lot of distance. My kids were distanced. There's a lot of reasons behind that. I'm not going to go too much into it. I do love that man very much, and we're very deeply connected still spiritually, even though he's passed. But it was funny because when I started finding love with myself, I found another relationship. And it was a soulmate relationship. It wasn't my divine, it was something preparing me. And this relationship helped me love myself even deeper. This next relationship helped me find joys that I loved. The outdoors, hunting, gardening, cooking, exercising, funny shows, everything, just life. This soulmate taught me how to live again. This soulmate brought me love. And it was a temporary situation. Sometimes God and Spirit will bring you a temporary soulmate to help you grow. And this person did help me grow. And that was the end. It was when I decided to be with somebody else. It broke me away from that karmic soulmate. And this next soulmate, which was kind of a divine soulmate, not my twin flame, but my divine soulmate, taught me how to love me again. And I was really happy, and it was okay. It wasn't as sexual, it wasn't as deep, it wasn't as romantic. And I learned in that relationship that this man was not over a previous divorce. He was suffering with opening his heart to me, but there was a lot of friendship, and there was a lot of love, and there was a lot of growth. So I'm grateful for it. But after that breakup, when I found who I truly was and I was powerful, he helped me know my value. I moved up in my careers. I became in a very high management position. I earned more money than him. He really brought me to a healthy place just by his presence, but it was me who was calling it in. I was growing. But that's when I met my twin flame, when I became powerful, when I became independent, when I became in myself. And I was, that's a whole nother story. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, Jesus, the twin flame story. But we met each other at a very prominent time of our lives. It was needed. We were both going through some dark times. We had a lot of love and happiness. I immediately awoke on a spiritual journey with my twin, which was after that soulmate, okay? I awoke with my twin and really started down this path of spirit, of psychic abilities, of my intuitive power, okay? And here I am today. I am completely not dependent. I'm the opposite. I'm not even desiring a relationship right now. Somebody asked if I was still single.
Mom,
what?
I want to be in a helicopter.
Then go do it.
You build me one.
Okay, I have to build him a helicopter. So anyways, I'm completely the opposite of who I was at that time in my life, guys. I'm happy alone. I love my kids. I exercise. I wake up every day meditating. I'm joyful. I am so happy. I am so happy. I don't cry. I don't yearn. Yeah, there's about a couple moments every now and then that I might lose my shit, you know, if I think about it. But I'm so happy. I love my life. I love my home, my kids, my business, my job, making oracle cards, freaking making tarot. I love tarot. I love spiritual journeys. Gosh, I get along better with my parents. I get along better with everybody. I am so happy. And I'm single. You know, guys, this wouldn't have been me 25 years ago. 25 years ago, really dependent. 20 years ago, super dependent. 10 years ago, still dependent. 7 years ago, still somewhat a little dependent, but not very much. But still, I had issues. Today, I feel great. I am not dependent any longer. I am free. I am so free. And I am happy. And all I can tell you is whatever moment I'm at in this journey, I feel good. I feel free. I can breathe. I am happier than I've ever been. And it's amazing to say that because I've lost my father. I've lost 2 lovers through deaths, you know. I'm single. I'm doing it all by myself. My kids give me a hell of a hard time every now and then. There's a lot of sad days, guys. But how could I be happier than I've ever been based on everything that I've been through? I don't look at them as bad things that happened to me in my life. I look at them as movement. I look at them as growth and healing. I look at my losses as wins. I look at them as steps on my journey that I am ascending and moving forward. I'm not moving backwards. I'm grateful for all of those things. And I'm grateful for my dad for guiding me, making me strong, and being a spiritual teacher. And I'm grateful for my lovers for teaching me how to be independent, for teaching me how shitty codependency really is. I'm grateful. And so today, if I can give you guys any advice, it is let it go. And if you are in those karmic situations, get out of it. Start loving yourself again. Stop commenting on my videos saying how toxic they were and how gone you are. Why are you watching? Why are you commenting? Why does it matter? Why? Why does it matter? Okay, it shouldn't. You should be so detached and moved on from that karmic situation. You don't have to thumbs down a video. You don't have to comment that it's not for you and you're done. Listen, Linda, when I do these readings, it has zero jack shit to do with a karmic. Unless I specify in the title, karmic reading, it has jack shit to do with it. All my readings specifically aim towards divine soulmate, divine twin flame connections. So, to be quite frank with you and completely honest, if your situation resembles my karmic situation, then it ain't for you. Because the outcome with me and my karmic was not union. The outcome for me and my karmic was not a reconciliation. The outcome for us was an ending, a detachment. It's over. I still remained friends because we had children and I still love them. But it was over. Anyways, my point with that is you have to let those things go. If it's karmic. So if you are watching my channel and you realize that you want to be done with somebody and they just make you feel like you can't breathe, like you're in a heated hell, and you just feel so much better having fresh air, loving yourself again and searching for somebody else, then those readings are not for you. So stop commenting that it's not for you, because I know it's not for you. It was never intended to be for you, and I think the only mistake made was you thinking that they were divine in some way. That was the only mistake made. And that's why you confused them with the divine soulmate in the first place. Because somewhere, somehow, you were watching some reading or somewhere that they clarified that it was a title. It was a titled karmic or it was a titled divine lover situation. And you knew it was your situation, so you labeled them divine. I want you to be very careful when you label somebody divine, because Just because the reader says they're divine or they're not doesn't have to be. I could be doing a reading and it's karmic and it's a karmic reading for you or a divine reading for you. The only person that's going to tell you what and who that is the creator, is source. You will get a confirmation if that person is a divine lover or a karmic lover. You will know. And, if you don't know, then you're in the middle of your journey. And you have to figure out who you are first. And then you'll know. Once you find out who you are and who you are as a being and on this journey, you'll figure out who your person's meant to be. Okay? So keep searching. Yeah, keep searching. My best advice is search yourself, love yourself, go into your journey. That's why a lot of readers who are now talking about the self journey, I get kind of sad because it doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 50, 60 years old. And I see readers that are still where I was in my 20s, emotionally. They're emotionally less mature than me because they were believing what I was believing 20 years ago. And so even though they're of age today, they're like changing their readings. They're going from reading twin flame readings to saying it's all about self. Twin flame journey is just a self journey. It's only about you. No, that's not true. But see, that person is going through a journey. That person is changing their paradigm, changing their perspective of the journey. And for that person right now, they're where I was 20 years ago. They're where I was going within, having to search myself, love myself, discover myself. So it's all about the journey. It doesn't matter how old you are, okay? It matters when you recognize and wake up, this is what it is, and it's been confirmed, okay? So I'm on this journey right now, guys. I know what a twin flame is. It is someone to awaken you and help you on your spiritual journey and conquer things with yourself. You will know the difference. What?
It goes make shapes with paint.
Cool.
A hope, and a squirrel and a triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And the bus made
Sorry, guys. It takes forever to get a sentence out.
Squirrel.
Okay.
That's what the bus did. That was a cool paint shape.
Oh, cool. Okay, here. You can go play with this. Here.
What is that?
Go open it. Okay, guys. So anyways, you're going to know who you are on this journey based on what your inner reflection shows you. When you ask for signs, you will be given them. When I asked for a sign with my karmic soulmate, will we be back together? We got further and further apart. There's your answer. When I asked for God to bring that man back home to me and he didn't come, there's my answer. Spirit will give you answers. There is divine intervention. But let me tell you, if someone keeps finding their way back into your life, there's a reason. There's a reason. And you're meant to explore that, to find out what that reason is. Love is a journey, not a destination. And all you guys have to do is keep swimming. And that's what I tell you guys all the time. But if you are one of those commenters, again, that is really having a hard time differentiating these divine readings to karmic readings, you're welcome. Maybe that video can help. Maybe that video that I just did will give you some clarity on your situation. A true love partner is difficult. Just one peek into the twin flame. The twin flame journey is hard, but in a different way. It's hard because you have to use your intuition. They hide a lot. They make you read between the lines. A twin flame journey shows up at the perfect time of your life when you're at your best and also your worst. A breakup, a divorce, some kind of a situation where it's your worst, but yet you're free. You're at your best. So meeting a twin flame is going to pick you up and put you down at the same time. It is a beautiful connection. The love is intense, but it's not just sexual. It's extremely intimate. It's soul, sacred It's a sacred soul relationship. Um,
Mommy.
anyways, so these are some of the issues that we're dealing with here. And I want you guys to be aware. What is it? What is it? Fix it.
I can't. Let's go, boy.
Okay, so anyways, twin flame journeys are a little bit different. They're not as toxic, but there is some karmic lessons to learn with your twin. If you think that a twin flame is not going to be karmic in any way, shape, or form, you're wrong. There is karma because you've probably known this person in a past life. So you and this person have known each other before, which means you do have unfinished business. You do have karma to hash out. Okay, so there are situations like that. And so don't think that just because you meet a twin, it's all cupcakes and rainbows. It's going to be a beautiful soul connection like the movies. It's not. There's going to be a lot of karma that needs to get dispersed of. There's going to be a lot of healing. With the twin flame, you'll notice that even though you've broken free from codependency and you've been your best self that you could be when you met them, you're going to realize that there's a lot of inner feelings that you've not been paying attention to that need healing. This is abandonment issues. This is codependent issues, deep. These are deep down issues that have been lingering. And so these are going to bubble up to the surface. And these are things that were so deeply rooted. You thought you were fine. You were really, truly happy when you met this twin. And all of a sudden, these little triggers about how you grew up, a past life instance, deep shame, deep-rooted self-worth issues, deep-rooted abandonment issues, very deep, deep, deep-rooted soul issues are going to be awakened with a twin flame, okay? Even a divine soulmate can help you do this. And this person is going to awaken the last. And I've described it before, it's a cup of water. It's full of mud. It's full of mud. That's with your karmic. You dump out the water, you sift out the mud, okay, and the water drips sifted to another cup, okay? So you got rid of tons of your karmic trash with your karmics. Then you have a cup of water, and it looks really clear because all the mud and gunk is clumped together and gone in the sifter. But as the cup sits and settles, you'll notice there's little sediments. There's little pieces of dirt and rocks and little pieces of, crap that are still in the water, and they drift down to the bottom. And only when the cup settles, only when you find yourself quiet, still, mindful, settled, do you see at the bottom of the cup there is still some issues, deep-rooted issues, the little pieces that made it through the sifter, the little pieces that didn't quite get taken out with the rest of it. That is what your twin flame will awaken inside you. And the water looks clear. So you meet together, you're in union, it's clear water, everything looks fine. Then you get triggered. And what happens is you stir up the cup and you see the little dirt still floating and spinning in the vortex in the water. And you see there's still shit that needs clearing. And your twin flame will clear it. You're supposed to grow and face those issues. And it's very tricky because they're hard to see. And it only usually gets brought up to the surface when you're triggered in a fight, in an argument, or a separation. Those are usually the only times when you are forced to deal and heal with those issues inside you. They don't come up when everything's fine and the glass is still. You can't see them then. So the universe and your twin flame's higher self will stir shit up so you can deal with it. So you can clear your karma in this life. So you can get rid of those little remaining issues. Okay? So for twins, a lot of the time, 90% of you is healed. You've done the work. You've dispersed of your karmic relationships. You've healed, you've grown, you've found your spiritual path. You're doing your thing. But your twin will rattle your cage and stir that water up, and you're going to get triggered, and you're going to have separations and issues, and you're going to have to heal and deal with those feelings. And it only happens when shit hits the fan. Okay? And that's why a lot of twins have ups and downs, because you have a moment in time to deal with it or not. And a lot of times people are too scared to heal their pain and they run from it. They immediately jump to pharmaceuticals. They immediately jump to excuses. Well, I was diagnosed with depression. I was diagnosed with bipolar. I was diagnosed with this. So there's excuses. Excuses. You're giving yourself an excuse not to deal and heal. That's a fucking excuse. Deal with it. Another excuse. It's not me, it's them. I'm aces over here. I'm healing, I'm dealing. I'm doing my inner work. They are stuck in a karmic relationship. They need to fix themselves. They need to come out of it. Okay, and that is the denial, judgment area of your life where you have to take a step back and say, okay, now that you're busy judging, guess what? You just got judged. Now you're being judged. You have anger issues. You have bitterness. You have resentment. You have anger. Now that beast awakens. And the beast of anger and bitterness and resentment is only awakened when you're doing the judging. And that's what happens. So then the twin flames have to kill that beast. So not only is your person dealing with karmicville, you're dealing with the beast inside, which is being resentful that they are still in their situation. But once you kill the beast of resentment, bitterness, and anger, you'll start to calm yourself. Then you reach this level of, okay, I have to let them go, figure out their karmic journey the same way I did. I have to let this person figure it out on their own. I cannot become frustrated because they're still stuck in it. I cannot become frustrated because they're not doing what I want them to do to come to me because I'm doing work. Then the twins realize by your manifestation, your healing, your meditation, and your law of attraction, you're not getting results because this person's not coming to you. When you find your zen, when you find your peace, you realize to be happy in the moment, to love yourself, and give two shits about the outcome. Who gives a shit about the outcome? You realize you have to let that go. And then, when you've healed your bitterness and your anger and your judgments and your blame and your unsatisfaction, when you're finally happy with who you are and what you have, and you're independent, and you're focused on your career, and you're not stuck in these vortexes of pain and shame and sadness, and you've pulled yourself out from that mud, and you finally sifted through that glass, whatever remnants were stirred up and left inside the glass, now you can start to live clear, focused, burdenless. You don't care about union, you don't care about the other person's business. You don't give a shit about what's going on. All you give a shit about is, are you living your best life? Are you happy? It is a little selfish, in a way, but it's true. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you happy with what you have? In that moment, in that reckoning, is when karma says, slam dunk. This person did the work. This person got it. They are not stuck in that shit anymore. They're free. They're ready to receive. When your cup has been sifted and there is nothing left in the remnants of your water, and your emotions are clear and your mind is stable and your life is on point. I'm not saying you have to be. In the midst of all that seemingly perfection lies jumbled schedules, disappointments, uplifting times, ups and downs. Life. Life happens. But I'm saying even through life you find your happiness. That's being clear-minded. Now the twin flame will have learned, and the divine soulmate will have learned how to handle disappointment. Do you cry and fall to the ground? No. Do you do the blame game? No. Do you focus on unsatisfaction and disappointment? No. You find an answer. You make a choice. You choose happiness. You find happy. You have to pick yourself up. Now that you've been through all of that, from now on, for the rest of your life, you will never find disappointments as heavy as they were in your past. From this moment on, you will learn that even though you're having a disappointment, you can choose to be happy. Instead of sitting on your bed and crying and dealing with something, you can choose to color, to do art, to paint, to sing, to go out with your friends, to find, a good movie on TV. Instead of watching a depressive breakup movie, you might want to change the channel and watch something like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I don't know, but you might find comedy appealing versus sadness. These are all choices. And you can choose to stay in a vibe or get out of it. It is a choice. However, I do recommend for the rest of your life, when you're healing and dealing, when a feeling bubbles up inside you, you need to feel it. And you need to deal with it. You don't need to run from it. So I'm not saying avoid your emotions. I'm saying when an emotion comes up, you need to cry it out. I've had days, guys, where I've had to cry it out because my soulmate, my karmic soulmate died, and I miss him, and I wish things would have been different, and I wish he would have had a long, full life, and I wish he could see my kids, and I have a moment of sadness, and I wish that everything would have been different for us. I have those moments, and I sit on my couch and I cry for about 2-3 hours, and I miss my dad, and I wish he could see my kids. But when I'm done feeling what I really was feeling, I could move on. I can tell them I love them and I miss them, and I can move on. See, that's healthy. That's good. Breaking down and falling apart all the time is not a bad thing. It means you're dealing with it, okay? But it's what you do when you face it. Do I choose to stay there all day? Do I choose to stay sad? No. I feel it, I deal with it, and I make a choice to do something else next and become a little bit more happy. So anyways, that's what this journey is about. Learning to deal with your feelings, learning how to heal, learning how to grow, help others, guide them, be a teacher. I don't always get everything right, guys. I get a lot of things wrong, but I keep going. I keep swimming. That's what you got to do. You have to just keep going, keep going. Don't fall and get stuck. Keep going, get up, walk, breathe. You're going to breathe again. You're going to wake up tomorrow. The sun's going to come out. There's another day. Okay? So that is my whole purpose, guys. So when you're watching these readings and you're like, commenting, this person's crazy and not for me, I want nothing more to do with them, then you've made your decision. It's time to start healing and dealing with it and moving forward and letting that go. You're right. You do need to let that go. But you also need to be careful how you watch tarot. And don't think that every single channel, every single reading, every single title you pick on is the same situation. There are some titles that are karmic, and there are some titles that are divine. You have to know and trust your intuition to know the difference. Don't count on the reader to tell you who you are in the scenario. You need to count on yourself to figure out who you are in the scenario. So be very careful when listening to readings, because there's so many people that tell me stuff. I heard a reading and it scared the shit out of me because I think that my divine lover, my twin flame, is never coming back, that they're going to go back to somebody or they're going to leave me. And I ask them, are you karmic in that reading? No. Then why in God's fuckville would you think that reading is for you? Get out of fuckville, please. Stop overthinking, over-worrying, and thinking that every gosh darn terrible reading is for you. That's a state of mind, and that's the law of attraction. Quit. You're bringing more of those thoughts to you, because I can watch the same reading and go, that's the best reading in the world. Holy crap. The karmics are ending. That confirms that validates my reading. And the other person's looking at you like, what? I thought that meant we're breaking up for good. No. It is a karmic ending. You need to understand the differences. But I understand if people do not know who they are in the scenario, it can become very confusing. So I hope that my story today about how I differentiated my karmic soulmate from a divine soulmate and a twin flame could help you differentiate your people and figure out your situation. So I hope it helped. If it did, great. If it didn't, toss it out. You don't need to keep this reading in your heart. It's not for you, okay? But if we're on the same vibe, I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. Divine lovers can come in and teach you a lesson, and it's beautiful, but you guys have to move on. Karmic soulmates teach you the worst lessons in life, but you can still be friends. You can still love that person and walk away. You just can't live a life with them. The relationship will never come to fruition. And a twin flame journey, you're going to find yourself in mindfuckville a lot of the time, because no matter what you do, you can't escape this person. They keep popping up. They keep showing up. Their numbers, their names, they're driving by. It's constant. It's like, God, if the universe can speak any louder, keep doing it. Because when it's something that's meant for you, it's going to keep presenting itself in your life. It will keep doing it. So be aware of how that works. And be aware if situations keep popping up for you, and I've used this description before. If you're out shopping for a new box of cereal and you're picking up Lucky Charms and Cheerios and Fruit Loops and Trix and all that shit, and all you keep doing is opening the cereal and getting cornflakes, you're in a karmic cycle. If Joe and Schmo and Flo are the same relationship, just different people, then you are in karmicville. And you need to learn something. And you need to figure it out so you can move on. And the person you meet next will not be a part of karmicville with you. You'll be done with that. So you also have to watch for those signs. Are your relationships all fucking cornflakes? Okay? So that's it, guys. I hope the message was good. I'm going to go. I don't know what else to say.
Mommy.
I love you. Have a blessed, beautiful day. Thank you for watching. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye, guys.